Another day on Planet Doug. A bit of a rainy morning up until now, but the skies are starting to clear up a little bit. There's a Tanjung Balai out there. So yesterday I brought my bicycle into a little shop here where they wash scooters, and I asked them whether they could wash my bicycle, and they did. And I let it sit overnight to dry, and now I'm going to go down and oil the chain and pump up the tires and things like that. Sort of, make sure everything is in good condition. I keep trying to figure out whether I really need this sort of a gel padding on the saddle or not. Because I bought a special saddle that has the cutout in the middle, and I think for most people in the world, they could ride on this saddle forever. It's a very expensive, modern saddle from a very good company meant for touring. But whenever I ride just on this, I just get such a sore butt. That's my main problem with cycling. My legs don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't mind the heat. I can be out there for as many hours as you like. But then I get such pain from sitting. And I've had that for as long as I can remember. It's always been a bit of a struggle. And then I've tried many different saddles over the years, and I've told the story before. There was one saddle for some reason seemed comfortable, and then it was stolen. Somebody popped it off my bike and stole it, and I've never been able to sort of replace it for some reason. I've tried similar saddles to the one that was stolen. Maybe I was just imagining things that it was better than the others. But anyway, this thing is actually quite heavy. I think it weighs like 1.5 pounds of gel, and you just sort of... It's kind of silly because if you take a really high-tech shaped, molded saddle like this, and then you just put a big cushion on top of it, well, then why did you get that saddle to begin with, if you know what I mean? But I've gone on rides where I took the gel off, and I thought it was fine. And then I would end up getting really sore again. And then I'd put it back on. But anyway, I've tested on and off, on and off, on and off. And I'd love to just leave it off because it would save me like 1.5 pounds of weight. And, but I just can't make up my mind whether I need it or not. But anyway, I'm going to put it on for now. And assuming I do go riding here in Sumatra some longer distances, I'll make up my mind once and for all whether I need this or not. So, let's just put a little bit of lube on the chain. I've got this Teflon dry chain lube. There we are. Nice. It's always nice when, it's a nice feeling when the gears shift so easily and naturally. Just clicking up and down through the gear range is always nice. And now, all I really need to do is pump up the tires. Perfect. Hey, kitty. Perfect. I've done this so many times. I just have a sense of how much air needs to be added. You just sort of get a feel for it over time. And I get the PSA right on the money, or PSI. I get the PSI right on the money. Yeah, and I still have this front rack on this bike right now, though technically I don't need it because I only have rear pannier bags. I don't have any front bags. So I could take this off the bike, and that would also, I think it weighs like 2 pounds, so that would save 2 pounds of weight as well. But I kind of like having it here. It just makes the bike feel more solid. It protects the front wheel, and if I ever need to strap anything to the front of the bike just to temporarily, I've got this flat platform. I can use it for mounting cameras. This flat platform is very useful, and mainly because it kind of protects the whole front of the bike. I really like that. And if you have to pick up the bike and carry it around, it gives you something to hold on to instead of damaging the wheel, if you see what I mean. It's just, I don't know, I like having it there, even though I don't really need it right now. So I may or may not take it off, we'll see. And I've got my lock bag. Which again is something I don't absolutely need, but I find it to be very, very handy. A nice, convenient place to put your bike lock, and I put little rags in there, little tools, things like that. In this orange pocket, actually, it came from an old set of pannier bags that I had, the ones I had before, and they all got totally worn out, but some of the pockets were still in good condition, so I like to do that with old knapsacks and pannier bags and even jackets and things. I take the pockets and take scissors and cut away the pockets, and I can, use them for other purposes. All right, to be honest, I mean, everything is, I thought I'd have to do a lot of work or something, but there's really nothing much to do. My 2 camera mounts, or I got 3 of them on the bike right now. This one, and one here. So going straight from the handlebars forward. And this one would point forward, and this one points backwards at me if I want to record myself. But everything still seems nice and solid. Yeah, there we go. At least it's good enough to go riding around Tanjung Balai, just to sort of give it a test ride, shake it out. Yeah, and I have another camera mount here. And I have one on the back as well. So I guess how many camera mounts have I got right now? I got 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 of them total right now. But I drilled a bunch of holes on the rear rack, and then I drilled holes through the front rack as well. And I have special mounts that lock into these holes on the racks as well. So, all right. Oop. That's all I needed to do right now. I'm back out in the real world after tuning up my bike a little bit, or at least pumping up the tires. That's pretty much all I did. But I just went to my neighborhood I am Bakso place, and I thought while I'm out here, I might as well just keep walking. This is on the other side of the street where my hotel is located, and yeah, there's a series of small roads here I've never gone down before, so thought I would go for a walk. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I pulled on long pants when I went out to get lunch, and long pants are not what you want to be wearing in this heat if you're walking any distance. But anyway, I keep talking about getting fuel for my Trangia cook stove. And I located, now that I have mobile internet, I located a paint store. It's about 1.5 kilometers away from here, kind of like downtown. So that is where I'm headed. I was going to go there on my bike, but there's a lot of pleasure in walking at the same time, just sort of walking around. It's just slower. You get to absorb your surroundings a bit more. Yeah, I'm quite interested in these houses. I think Gunun, the man who drove me in from the port, he called them housing estates. And the way he talked about them, it seemed like he was pointing them out as if they were something special. As we rode along the road on those motorcycles, he kept pointing out places like that, like sort of small 1-room or 2-room apartments all lined up together, and he called them housing estates. But I just assume they're privately owned, and then people rent those places monthly. Yeah, some different houses here. Nice place to park the car. Yeah, like right here, this would be one of the housing estates. This looks like a more modern one here, a little bit newer, but essentially the same thing, right? I think they all have a front door like this. And then maybe there's a small space at the back with another door. I'm not sure. I've never been inside one, so I don't really know what they look like on the inside. Coconut tree, palm tree. Very quiet back here in this neighborhood. Got a couple of buildings here, 2 stories. Not that common. There's another one over here on this side as well. And that looks like some kind of special building. Masjid al-Mustafik. It's part of a mosque. And behind me over here, I was going by another, like a big yellow wall. Large house behind there. I think that remains one of the big differences for me between places like Malaysia and Indonesia and then my home country of Canada, where probably a lot of other countries around the world too, there's so many more walls. Like, we don't tend to have walled in houses or walled in neighborhoods in Canada like this. But here, quite often, things are behind walls, so you're never quite sure what's going on. But yeah, these houses are open. Just has a little fence. Just be similar to what we have in Canada. Yeah, this looks like a small market area. Not open today. This looks like a market building up ahead. Yeah, it looks like a wet market. On this end anyway, but it's closed. And then a typical produce market over here on this end. Coming out the other side of the market building. Yeah, interesting neighborhood. Middle of the day, so it's not as busy. Probably in the morning, late in the afternoon. It'll be more bustling when it's cooler. It's actually a nice day today, a lot cooler than it was yesterday. And there's a nice wind blowing too. There's another sort of wet market building here. Looks like, yeah, all the stalls are numbered. So I guess people would rent those. I'm fine, thank you. And to get to my paint store, I have to go down here to the main road and cross over the main road. Hello. No. Where I have to cross the street, and the paint store should be just up ahead on the left. I'm fine, thank you. Look. Yeah. Take off that.
Kuas yang satu, ambil lagi kuas.
Synthetic.
Spritus.
Spiritus, that's what I'm looking for.
Cat yang cat kuda terbang warna hitam kecil.
Berapa harganya?
9.000. 7.500.
Okay. I'll take one.
Okay.
Terima kasih.
Kuas dari mana? Ambilkan yang kunci.
Thank you. 50, 60. So this is where I was trying to go, and I think I found this place. I think toko means like shop or something, but it's basically a building materials store, and I located it right there. So I just walked here, and they had what I'm looking for, and I finally remembered what they call it here. I mentioned the other day that this methylated spirit has different names all around the world. It changes even what store you buy it in. It's all the same liquid, the same chemical, but depending what you use it for, it has a different name. So here in Indonesia, they call it Spritus. So you definitely do not drink it. In terms of cooking fuel, it's expensive because you have to use a lot of this in order to cook with. So it's not as efficient as using gasoline in a gas stove or regular white gas or anything like that. But I don't know, I just wanted to try it out. Gave myself a reason to go out for a walk, track down some Spiritus for my Trangia stove. Heading back to my hotel now, but I'm following a different route through the small streets, but same neighborhood, but a different set of roads, I guess. Yeah, it's very nice here. And there's some wind today as opposed to yesterday, so it feels a lot cooler. Yeah, I have to follow this road around, and then it curves back, and then I end up back on the main street where my hotel is eventually. In a lot of these houses, you get the feeling of the village that used to be here, like this house right here. Just feels like you could be in a small village, and then the larger city grew up around it. Hello, I'm fine. Aha. That's what I want. Yeah, the big one, and then spaghetti sauce.
Where do you come from, sir?
I'm from Canada. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just staying at the hotel here, Malahayati Hotel. So I'm just staying there. I have 100,000. That's okay.
What are you doing here, sir?
I'm just on vacation. Yeah, tourist.
Anything family there?
No, no family here. Just traveling around.
Just myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's normal for me.
So what do you think about Indonesian food?
Oh, I like the Indonesian food. Yeah, it's good. Well, I like simple food, so like mie ayam bakso is my favorite. Very simple. But tonight I'm just going to make some spaghetti for dinner tonight.
Thank you, sir. Yeah?
All right, thank you.
See you.
So I'm back in Planet Doug Studios to end this video, aka my hotel room. And here is the Spiritus that I just bought. And as I mentioned, this type of alcohol. It's a fuel for cooking in stoves. That's what I use it for. Basically, there's all kinds of different like alcohol burners out there in the world. It's probably the simplest and easiest way to cook, like a camp stove, because all you really do is pour this into an open container and you light the top and it burns. Kind of like a fondue cooker, basically. It's the same thing. And people make their own alcohol burners out of beer cans, out of all kinds of different things. And what I use is a stove called a Trangia, a Swedish stove. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And just to get some of the facts straight in my head, I looked up Spiritus online because, as I talked about in an earlier video, in different countries around the world, when you go shopping for alcohol, for like an alcohol burner, you end up using a whole bunch of different names. And I get very confused about the names myself, like methanol, ethanol, methylated spirits. And then in each country, they have different names in their own language. Sometimes it's rubbing alcohol. You can buy it in pharmacies. Sometimes it's like a solvent or a paint thinner that you buy in a paint store. In Canada, we use it as an antifreeze in engines. So it has all kinds of different names, different uses. But I wasn't entirely clear in my head about the difference between this and methanol. So I looked it up, and I'm going to read a little bit. This is on, I just asked Google, basically, the difference between ethanol and methanol, and then how do they relate to Spiritus. And it says, Spiritus, or methylated spirits, is a denatured alcohol, typically containing ethanol with a small amount of methanol added to it to make it undrinkable. So basically what's going on, that Spiritus is known as methylated spirits, and it's basically ethanol, but this ethanol has been made undrinkable by the addition of other substances, often methanol. And methanol is the toxic one, the poisonous one. So basically, the addition of methanol makes the ethanol unfit for human consumption, preventing its use in alcoholic beverages. So while spiritus might contain methanol, the primary alcohol in the mixture is ethanol, with the methanol acted as a denaturant. So it says spiritus is used as a solvent, fuel, and disinfectant, but not for drinking. Again, that's the very important point here. And of course, you got the big X on it, the big red mark. I mean, it is alcohol, but this is not an alcohol that you drink. This is something that you cook with. At least that's what I do. And what I have as part of my cooking apparatus is I have a special, of course, Trangia fuel bottle. So this, generally, I try to find Spiritus in larger bottles than this, because this is actually a small amount of it. And then I would fill up. Sometimes you can find paint stores or hardware stores, they have giant tubs of ethanol, of Spiritus. And then I ask them to fill this up. It's like a 1 liter, I think. Yeah, this is a 1 liter bottle. And I'll ask for a liter, and they fill this up. Or if I can't do that, then I find these small bottles, and I have to buy a whole bunch of them and then pour them into my Trangia fuel bottle, because it's a lot safer to keep this fuel inside an official fuel bottle like this. It has a special seal on the top, and of course it's very, very hard and very durable. It's not going to break open or anything. And then here at the top, it has a special valve so that you can actually pour it into your alcohol burner quite safely. So this is where I keep my Spiritus. And this is my Trangia stove, but I've modified it because the original Trangia comes with quite a large base to hold the burner. And then it has a windscreen. But the windscreen and the base, when you combine them, end up being quite bulky and quite heavy. So I ended up buying a special unit to replace the original base and the burner. And this is basically the burner. So this is what I cook with. And you basically unscrew the top, fill this with Spiritus, and then you light the top, and you get a big flame coming off the top. So this is basically an alcohol burner. So I basically just take this, fill it up with fuel, light the top, and then poof, it just burns. And then you can boil water, cook spaghetti, which is what I'm going to do, stuff like that. So that is my alcohol burner. And then I purchased a special base for it because it's much smaller and lighter. So this is the special base that I have, made out of titanium, and it has 3 parts. Takes a little bit of dexterity to fit them together. Let's see if I can do it without too much trouble. It has three parts here, and then these 3 pieces hook together like yeah, it's a little bit of a puzzle. There we are. So the 3 pieces are together now, and then you take the base and it slips into the center of them. I'm not usually doing this holding it up in front of a camera, so that's why it's more difficult than normal. But yeah, you put this inside, and then you push it down until it clicks into place. So that's the base that I use for my burner, and then the burner just pops in like that. And then this is my cooking pot, and then the cooking pot just sits on top like that. So it's a little bit less efficient. Like the original Trangia has a much bigger base, and then it has a windscreen that comes up all the way around the pot, and that seals in the heat. So the heat transfer is much more efficient, and it protects it from wind, stuff like that. But it's a lot bigger and heavier, and lately I haven't been cooking enough to make it worthwhile to carry all that around with me, so I got this instead. And I don't mind that it's a little bit less efficient to use it this way. And yeah, it's not the easiest way to cook, because even like modifying the flame takes a delicate touch, because when you have it like this, completely open, the flame is actually quite large and it's much hotter than you need. So you take this cover and then you open this a little bit. You adjust the flame by opening and closing this section here. So you basically put this on top, and then you get a smaller flame. And if you want a larger flame, you have to move it to the side and make the opening larger, and that increases or decreases the opening and the size of the flame. But yeah, that's basically it. That is my Trangia cooker. And then this is the fuel that I use. Pour it in there, into the burner right here, and then you light the top on fire, and that's all there is to it. So yeah, there you go. So that is the end of my little adventure with cooking with a Trangia stove and denatured alcohol, basically. And here in Indonesia, they call denatured alcohol Spiritus. So that's it for that, and that is it for this little video. A little bit of bicycle maintenance, a little bit of a tour of some back streets of Tanjung Balai, and an introduction to the amazing Trangia alcohol burner. So that's it. Shutting down for now. Thanks for hanging out with me. There's going to be more information, more links, lots more Planet Doug content over on the Planet Doug Patreon. Go check that out if you want to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. And if you've watched the video all the way to this point, this one's a little bit shorter than a normal Planet Doug video. They tend to be an hour plus long. This one is probably around 30 minutes. But even so, that's still a long YouTube video. If you watched it all the way to this point, that makes you a member of the Crunch Club. Put CC in the comments to let me know. And I will see you in the next video.